Hello, hello, hello. How are you? Happy Friday to you. How are you feeling on this Friday, the 13th? Are you out there living la vida loca? Are you ready for a fabulous weekend? Well, here in the south of France, well, probably all over France, we are getting ready for Bastille Day, le 14 juillet. It is time for the French people to celebrate, like we do in America on the 4th of July. Well, here it's the 14th. And somebody's here to say hello to you. This is Lusa. Hi, Lusa. So what's good in your world? Om Shanti Naman. It's good to have you here. Sorry, it's a little later than I normally go live, but I'm so glad that you got to tune in. Voila. I am so curious to hear how everyone's been doing since I've been gone for a little while. I've been kind of busy, kind of traveling the world like I always do. I know you already know that about me, but it's been a little bit more busy than I'm actually comfortable with. Mainly because it's been like city after city after country, flying in, leading retreats, working with clients, signing and autographing books. But last weekend was pretty epic. So I'm so excited to tell you just a lot about what's going on in my world. For one, got new collaborations, new partnerships. It's like, what? It's the middle of the year and we're announcing new partnerships. But I absolutely love it. So I would love to hear from you. I'd love to know what's going on in your world. Feel free to chime in and let me know what's going on. What's up, Gila? It's nice to have you here. One of our upcoming authors. So if you haven't already been introduced to me, I think someone's here to deliver something. Perfect timing. What's up, Fleming? What is up? It's so good to see some of my friends here showing up. I am in the process of getting ready to publish 2 new group books. These are books where each contributing author is sharing one personal story about either something magical and miraculous that's happened in their life or how they've overcome trauma. And so tomorrow we start with the Stories with Soul workshop, where I'm going to see you, Stefan Conradi from Mallorca. He's not from Mallorca, but he'll be chiming in from Mallorca. I can't wait. And Marlon Hedlund, what's up? Charlotte, who's also in the book. Oh, it's going to be amazing because we have some really deep mystical stories and stories that are going to make you really believe again in your human potential to rise and shine. Oh my goodness. And Elaine, one of our authors in Time to Rise, good to see you tuning in. And Elaine says, nice to see you. You always know what I've been thinking about. I don't know what that means. You mean what I'm talking about today? Well, it's definitely one of those topics that I feel like so many of us in this world of personal development and whatnot, we generally like to keep it moving, right? We want to feel like we are living up to our full potential. And so why stop yourself? And definitely if you start to identify that there's some little areas in your life that are not, where you really want them to be. I started off by posting to you, fabulous group. I wondered, are you living up to your potential? And a lot of people say, I hate that question. I've heard people say, you can't always live up to your potential. Sometimes things go sideways. And so you'll make people feel bad. Well, yes, there are going to be times when you may have the potential to start some new business or some potential to write a book or potential inside of you that wants to be manifested in some way. And you can't based on finances, timing, kids, your other focus, or even a health challenge that you may be going through. But I am actually one of those people that really wants to push myself beyond my self-imposed boundaries. And yes, sometimes even the boundaries or limits that other people put on me, because I don't believe that I don't believe that we're limited. I mean, you've seen a bunch of TED Talks, you've read a bunch of great books, you probably even read Time to Rise. So you know that there are people who overcome really terrible situations in life. And if any of them had told themselves, oh, I can't do this because of my accident or my injury or my finances, then we wouldn't be reading those great stories. But what we are reading is that we can utilize more of our potential in life. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And so Elaine says, yes, you've been thinking about how you can live your highest potential and in what way. So I think this is a beautiful way to kick it off, because this is the kind of question that usually fuels more excellence. Yeah, you may go through a moment where you feel like a little self-judgment, like, I'm not living up to my potential. It's like, you remember that line from Streetcar Named Desire? It's like, Stella, I could have been a contender. Well, sometimes I felt that way. I feel like there have been moments in my life where I've looked at what I'm up to and I'm like, Dre, why are you playing small? Why are you limiting yourself? And that's what I see. So thank you, Sonia. She says potential or purpose. I love where you're going with that, because I believe that we need to tap into our purpose and manifest our destiny. I love what you're saying, Fleming, turning scars into stars. And Fleming, like big ups, as we say in America. Props to you, Fleming, for all the great work that you're doing in Dubai and the United Arab Emirates with these young people and teaching self-love. It's like you were just out there doing it. And think about that. Like, some people would have thought, oh, really? You're Danish and you're going to go to the UAE and teach self-love and empowerment? Like, somebody else might have tried to put that as a limitation as to what you could or could not do. And you like doing it. So that's what I'm talking about. But Fleming, I know personally, because I've seen him and worked with him on a couple of my workshops, he is dialed in to his purpose, his reason for being on the planet. And so I really want to talk about what may be holding you back from full self-expression and what I would consider a joyful manifestation of your destiny. One of the main reasons that people don't go after their dreams or pursue their real desires in life is down to false beliefs. It's sometimes self-judgments or self-doubt about your worthiness for success or whether you deserve happiness and love. Sometimes it can just be one harsh word from a parent or a coach, one bad romantic breakup, or just one major mistake in school or business that can start to create this heavy sense of fear or a sense of incompetence. And if we really think about children, though, as a toddler is falling down just as they're learning to walk, they get back up. And we as adults can pick ourselves up and move forward with that same motivation and that same faith that we will reach our goals. But oftentimes we don't. Instead, many of the times our past failures, our traumatic experiences, they actually get locked into our bodies and our brains. And it can create almost a near permanent limit to boldly living and loving our authentic self. Now, I say near permanent because the reality is your authentic self that has its own set of values and your destiny is still within you. So no matter what messages you may have heard or ways that you may have interpreted past problems, you can get beyond it. So this weekend, I was in London. My daughter and I flew in to support a very dear friend and colleague, Yvette Taylor. I don't know how many of you were out there, but, hearts and love to Yvette and the energy alignment method. She and her beautiful mentors hosted this event called the Energy Emergence Weekend. And what she has created is a really powerful 5-step process for overcoming those internal blocks to success, to happiness, and to health. And I also got to share the stage during the evening on Saturday, which was where we announced a big partnership and collaboration, and we announced Yvette's new book. Oh, I have to show you guys this. Oh my God. Oh my God, as we say. Oh my God. I've got to show you. I really, really love this book. I don't even know. Let me see where I am. So Yvette and I are working on her new book, which is called The Ultimate Self-Help Book. And like, isn't that a sassy title, y'all? And it's so true, because what Yvette has done with the energy alignment method is really put together the very distilled, accurate, best info ever about what it really takes to get past your past blocks or internal energy challenges, if you will. And Yvette and I share a couple of things in common, one of them being that we both had a well-being center. We both have studied acupuncture and Chinese medicine and all of that good stuff. And we know that what is possible for us humans on the planet is for us to really live with the ultimate in vitality and health and bliss. And we also know that there are times when you just don't live up to your quote unquote potential because of blockages in your energy system. So I'm gonna let all of y'all tune into Yvette's beauty and wonder to explain all of the intricacies of that. As you know, I share a lot about what it really takes for us to turn on what I call your innate vitality code. So here it is. Look, isn't this awesome? Oh gosh, I need to make it a little bit smaller. Dun dun dun! Does that look amazing or what? Okay, I can't seem to move it right now. Oops. Okay, well, it's just going to be here. Ultra huge. It is the ultimate self-help book. It is the Energy Alignment Method Book 1, which means there's more coming, right? It was epic. It was epic on Saturday because we got to announce that Make Your Mark Global, my company, is now doing a partnership with Yvette Taylor and her whole world of fabulousness as we partner up on publishing with her own imprint, her own publishing imprint called Infinite Freedom. And the ultimate self-help book, How to Be Happy, Confident, and Stress-Free. Change your life with the law of attraction and energy healing. It's coming out in September. I can give you a link to pre-order because you can get it as of now. It's so exciting to me, to everybody. Everybody that was there was like all hyped up because it was really a momentous evening for us. And so this process, this energy alignment method, and yes, I hear you, Margareta, who got to meet the lovely Yvette when we were in Alicante, Spain. Yvette's method is amazing. And it was pretty epic. Because what I saw during the weekend were people leaving behind years of ick. I'll just keep it clean. Years of pain, illness, disease, limitation, grudges, unforgiveness, a lack of self-love. So it's impressive when you can have sort of a huge shift in your energy and your body, and it can go away like that. And I think the reason that's important for us to highlight is because most people in the traditional realm of things, we're trained to think that we need years and years of psychotherapy if we've had some traumatic experience, or we're going to have to be tied to a machine or a medication for life because we get some terrible diagnosis. And that's just not true. It's one of the reasons that I left the traditional practice of medicine in America, because the way the whole healthcare system is structured and the way the pharmaceutical industries are now marketing to us and influencing decisions made about which products and protocols get even into your insurance formulary, it's wrong. Now, certainly medical science and even medications, definitely surgery, have brought us miracles. We are able to heal things quickly, especially in emergency situations. But I said before, we were not meant to become dependent on drugs, medications, other people. We have an innate system within us to recover, to bounce back from illness, from stress, okay, so you know where I'm going. But so anyway, back to the weekend. So Saturday, I announced the book. I announced that, yes, we've got this amazing partnership going on, and the book is coming out. But what's really cool is that now we will be able to bring even more of the people in Yvette's tribe, which is the energy alignment method. She's got 40, 50 some odd mentors who have been through her training process, who are now helping other people to get past their drama and their trauma and their pain, which to me is just huge. Because you don't, the reason that, when we were playing with titles, when Yvette and I were talking about it and we landed on the ultimate self-help book, one of the things about this methodology and this understanding is when you understand your body and the brain and how the mind gets programmed, when you understand, all of these different modalities from NLP and tapping and quantum physics and the neuroplasticity discussion, then you recognize that there comes a moment when you can take back conscious control. Now, we can't control everything in life. I know that. You know that. But when you can take conscious control over your energy, like directing your attention, your focus, and your energy towards elevating your vibration, improving your health, improving your relationships, that's why it's the ultimate self-help book. Because we're putting the power back into your hands, which is where it should always be. And I was talking with this beautiful woman named Karen Joy from Joy Lightworks. You'll see an interview with her coming out very soon. Karen Joy was explaining that in her case, she works with healthcare providers and with patients as a partnership. Like, we were not meant to become so dependent that we give away our power to doctors or therapists. We can work in partnership, which means you reclaim control over this beautiful vehicle of yours. You regain the clarity of your mind to start using your life force energy for good. So anyway, I'm on a tangent. You can tell it's been a while since I've talked to you. So I'm like, I want to tell you everything that's in my head. But I shared the stage at Yvette's event last weekend on the second day to really talk about how some of us can do just that, how to consciously tap into some of your conscious and unconscious blocks, particularly those blocks to our sensual or creative energy in the lower energy centers or chakras. The results of past abuse, of divorce, or even just advancing age, those things can make some people shut down their energy flow. And not only does that end up robbing them of an orgasmic life experience, it also deprives them of a sense of full self-expression. It robs you of vitality and it steals your joy. And so whether it's sensual or mental, I want to ask you, are you experiencing any sort of limit to your flow, your life force flow in your life? Are you feeling energized? Are you excited to manifest your deepest desires and live your purpose? I see some hearts flying, so some of you must be. Because whether you're currently working in the field of your preference, or maybe you're soon making a transition to a more value-aligned, heart-centered type of work, now is the time to really investigate. Investigate your own sense of flow, your alignment, and even your motivation. Like, why do you stay in the stuff that you stay in? You know? And so to help you get there, I have made a pledge to bring more of my work away from just my private VIP clients and my mentoring academy and bringing it more into the mainstream. And that is no easy feat because, you know, it takes a lot of time and energy to deliver what I deliver. But I'm hosting more retreats. I'm also bringing forth a new company and a new incubator for more light workers and healers to enhance their superpowers. So I personally have also really stepped into a more bold expression of my deepest desires and what I truly believe is my destiny. So I'm not talking about, changing up my business based on the market. For me, I'm really living in alignment with my biggest truth. And that is, we need to live our dream. We need to live our purpose. We need to be living as our authentic self. And so I want to tell you a little bit about what's going on in that world. So Sonia, I love what you say. Just as you're watching Wimbledon, you realize that these guys are out there on the court living up to their potential. Loads to do with hard work, desire, and drive. Absolutely. And the question is, is there anything getting in the way of that? Hard work. Do some people not put in the work because they're lazy? Do some people not put in the work because they already expect to fail? Or do some people not put in the work because they're afraid of success and what that might mean? A lot of people don't do what they feel called to do because it's going to upset the status quo. For any of you who've had a health challenge, the people around you who've been taking care of you, they're probably either they're enabling you because sometimes it's easier to just get other people to take care of your stuff. And for those of us who tend to get put upon, we take on everybody else's drama, trauma, challenges. We fix everybody. The people that are used to coming to us to get fixed, if we up-leveled and moved into a new dimension where we were really living our truth, what would happen to those jokers? Yeah. So, yes. So, Vaughn, what's up? It's been a while. I haven't seen you around here. What program am I using to do that? What do you mean? What do you mean? Which program? Sorry, I didn't catch these comments right as I was in my in my other world. Yes, Sonia, Yvette and her method is great. Awesome. And yes, it's going to be incredible. Very excited. Very excited. And yes, Vaughn, the body is designed to heal itself. And yep, to life force energy to reclaim our power. Yeah, so this new company, I got to talk to you about it. It is definitely, I'm reading another one of your comments, Sonia. She says, yes, I can get lazy because I have to manage my time after 25 years of having had your time structured. Whoa, I can only imagine. Hello, Wenda. And hello, Shelley, another person working on a very good book and coming out in the world with functional medicine coaching. So I want to tell you a little bit more about what's going on with Innate Vitality. This is this new company, which will also serve as a bit of an incubator. I am partnering, God bless you, child. I am partnering with a few really talented healthcare providers, wellness coaches, energy healers, and the like. Because what I have recognized is that long history I had as a medical doctor and an acupuncturist, my desire to help people live well hasn't gone away. Many of my clients are doctors, therapists, healers, and even some of the coaches and light workers are dealing with serious health challenges that they're helping people get rid of like that. And what Shelley's doing with her new business in functional medicine coaching is we're really looking at personalized healthcare. And one of the things that I think is so important for us is to know your own body and your own makeup. Know what it is you need to thrive. Because one of the underlying principles about this new venture, Innate Vitality, is that if you look back into the ancient healing systems, whether you're looking at indigenous things like First Nation, Native Americans, or we're looking at Chinese medicine or Ayurvedic medicine, or even in the Western world, we call it homeostasis. The body has a natural mechanism that helps bring us back to health and vitality. But what blocks us? Now, sometimes what blocks us is, we had some traumatic experience that has then put our brain into fight or flight. If you've had some traumatic experience or an injury or an accident, then suddenly your brain is feeling like you've got to be on guard for that next threat. If you've been feeling like you were an outsider, you were the black sheep of the family because you were a little weird, or, you're highly sensitive and you pick up on the energy of others, then many of us have felt the need to close ourselves off, to hide. And all of those things means we're putting the brain in a state where it's not our natural or preferred state of being. And over time, the more that you feel the need to be on the lookout and check, am I fitting in or not fitting in? Are they going to get me? Am I being too loud? Am I being too weird or whatever? When you stay for a long period of time in that fight or flight response with those stress hormones that are elevated, like cortisol and noradrenaline and all of that, it messes with, the brain. It messes with your adrenals, that sit on top of your kidneys. And when those neurohormones and the rest of the hormones in the body get out of whack, that's what sets us up for further ill health. And so it pulls us off track of our destiny and living as our authentic self and into this whole world of trying to take care of, worrying about what other people are thinking, managing this stress. And it creates so much disease and internal strife, stress. And yes, Fleming, I know how that feels. Most people think that we're a little crazy, and that's okay. We get to a point where eventually we realize, they're the crazy ones. I'm completely normal. And so, so that's really what the underlying principle is. So at Innate Vitality, I have decided to bring forth, the wisdom that I've been sitting on, as well as working with other people in functional medicine, in energy healing, in transformational teaching and coaching, so that we can do, basically, it's kind of like leading back to my days at Discovery Channel. For those of you that don't know, I used to be the medical director and spokesperson for Discovery Health Channel. So if you've seen any of those great documentaries on Discovery, that was my gig. And then Discovery Channel has now become the Oprah Winfrey Network. And one of the things that I did the very first time I was on the Oprah show was just breaking down for people what I think the first real focal point was about diabetes and heart disease and how it disproportionately is disabling and killing Black people. Yeah, it was a big show. Well, explaining all of what goes on in the body and in our blood vessels, I sort of, admitted to Oprah that, yes, I was a nerd in med school, but it really set the tone for kind of what I'm known for, and that is helping people understand what's going on in the body and the brain, and then empowering you with the tools to do something about it. And so at Innate Vitality, we're producing programs like documentaries and interview series. We're producing products like online learning and my new supplement line. so that you know what is going on in your body and brain. You know what you are putting into your mouth. Like, do you know what's in your medicine cabinet? Do you know what's in your pill bottle? Like, do you know where that stuff has really been? I've spent over 14 years like researching and basically biohacking when I was working as an age management medicine doctor. So all of the anti-aging stuff that I was doing, 10, 14 years ago, like nootropics, the smart drugs, and what we can do to decrease our risk of heart disease and diabetes and Alzheimer's, all of that has gone mainstream. And so I kind of just stopped really doing it. It was like, why? There's plenty of other doctors out there. But what I realized is in this light worker community, in the community of people who are really committed to being the change that we need to see in the world, for those of you out there who are truly aligned in your heart and knowing that it's part of your soul's mission to do life differently, to do business differently, we need to make sure that our energy is flowing and rocking and rolling. And so I'm putting all of that into what I'm doing with Innate Vitality. And a couple of partnerships are involved in that. I'm not doing it all by myself. You know me, I'm going to stay in my lane, do what I do best. And part of that is the media production and the publishing and the podcasting and hosting live events. So, Vaughn, you're crazy. It's like, when did you start? When you were 5? Because you look like a teen. Well, that's what I'm saying. It's this innate vitality thing, right? It's, I think it's working. It's definitely helped me, of course, the whole anti-aging thing, being here in the south of France. Yes, it is amazing and important, Gila. It's helped me because I've had the opportunity to unplug from the stress and the crazy life I was living in America and just get back to basics and really start making sure that anything I do is aligned with my soul, my heart first. Are the partnerships I'm getting into, the relationships I'm getting into, are they aligned with my values? Because I think so many of us, we just get in to fit in. We get along so we can get by. And that doesn't work. For so many of the people who have dedicated their life to the light, as we say in the light workers. And yes, Sonia, there will be some singing involved. It is coming. You probably heard that I sang 2 weeks ago when I was in Copenhagen for the Real Self-Love Days. It's coming back. But anyway, I digress. This is what I think is important. So one of the things that we have decided to do next month with the announcement of the new supplement line to help you get your energy straight so that your brain, your body, your heart, your motivation, your passion are able to be fully realized. I'm hosting live masterclasses. So these live masterclasses are part of what we're calling the Burnout Recovery Series. It's basically a survival guide for how you can increase your energy, how you can recover from burnout or breakdowns, how you can reclaim that sense of conscious control over your life force energy so that you don't keep spinning your wheels and dissipating your energy into the projects or people that are draining you. Because if you really say that you are full of compassion and you want to help others, you've got to learn how to take care of yourself, to get yourself as clean as you can. As I think of us as vessels, really. It's like, if you were looking at a jar or some sort of a crystal, you would want it to be as clean as possible so that that light or whatever that life force can come through and be shared. And as this body is your vessel for your soul, walking around on planet Earth, we need to make sure that we are truly in alignment, so as in the words of Yvette, our head, our heart, and our hara, these lower energy chakras, we need to make sure that that is in alignment. Not just physically like we do with Qigong getting aligned, but you need to be aligned in your energy field so that you stop attracting or perpetuating those negative situations. And, it starts with what you put inside of you. That's the media or the other things that you consume through your senses. And definitely it's what you put into your mouth. And yes, Shelley, you know I'm going to be calling you up, girl, because yes, there'll be affiliate opportunities. I definitely want to get this product line into as many hands as possible. The first major supplement that we decided to come out with, I mean, the line is vast and extensive. It's everything from your daily multivitamins, which, you know, it's funny because this is the one thing that people ask me the most. Like, of all the vitamins, what should I really be taking? That's like the number one, because people have heard all of these news reports that the stuff that you buy over the counter, most of it you just piss away. Like literally, you pee it. You're buying and manufacturing expensive urine. I did a TV show, which was, I don't regret it, but it was one of the TV shows that I'm now thinking, you weren't thinking straight. But a few years ago, well, 12 and a half years ago to be exact and precise, after I left Discovery Channel, I started working with multiple other TV networks. And I'll tell you what, through the course of operating my wellness center, where we had acupuncture and Chinese medicine, we had psychiatry, we had psychology, we even had an OBGYN in our practice. I had a salon and spa and a fitness room all within the place. And I was doing, you know, cognitive and behavioral therapy and meditation and mindfulness and all this stuff, right? Well, one of the things that came out of that was I was running the medical center, and at the same time I was on the news. I was the news anchor for Discovery Channel. And there came a point where every week I was doing multiple news reports about how vitamins impact the body and how hormones are impacting the body and how things like acupuncture and other types of energy psychology were being proven. So literally, you know, on the news in America, at least at that time, it's not the same now, but at that time, we were only reporting, you know, these clinical studies that had passed a certain level or standard. And that's when I realized we got to change the way we do medicine. You know, I ended up going and getting additional training and certification in medical nutrition, because in medical school, I mean, the training was next to zero. And so because I was attracting a lot of people with binge eating disorder and obesity and diabetes, I got training because I didn't know jack. And I'm sitting there on the news reporting all this stuff about nutrition, and I'm like, okay. And so doing this additional training just really highlighted for me that there's so much that the general public doesn't know. So anyway, I was saying all of that to say, when I realized that I wanted to do more for teaching people how to live healthy and that the traditional medical way wasn't the way, I ended up getting a TV deal to produce my own show. And I signed the contract. Some of you have heard this story, sorry to repeat, but I signed this contract to do a TV deal. And after I'd already signed on the dotted line and got everything all worked out with my lawyer, we had a meeting with the head of this TV network. Now, this TV network at the time was called Lime, Healthy Living with a Twist. Lime subsequently has been sold to Gaia. So for any of you out there who watch like online documentaries with Gaia.com, you can find one of my shows there. Anyway, so when I signed the deal with this TV network and sat down with them in New York, we were having a brainstorm session about, you know, what is the show going to be about? What angle should we take? You know, because I was doing so much with this medical center, doing age management medicine, helping people like optimize their brain and optimize their body as they age and their sexuality. But what they didn't know was that I was pregnant. So once the contract was signed and I'm sitting there with them in New York, I let them know. I said, listen, you know, as we're starting to talk about the production schedule, I need y'all to know something. I'm pregnant. And all of the table just went silent. And the head of the network looked at one of the production people, who looked at one of the program people, who looked at me, and they said, "Can we follow your pregnancy?" Now, at the time, it was very early on in my pregnancy, and I was like, ooh, yes. And we decided to produce a show. Well, it was actually a 4-part miniseries where we followed me as a patient through my pregnancy. And we were also following me as an entrepreneur with my wellness center. So seeing behind the scenes how I treat patients and all of that. So sounds perfect, right? Like, who wouldn't want a reality show that's profiling them plus their business? Booyah! I mean, you know, being on TV had already helped my business enormously when the Oprah producers, shot my second Oprah appearance at my wellness center. It was huge. So I said yes. Well, something happened about 3 or 4 months into my pregnancy. And I don't know if Margareta is still here, but I discovered hypnobirthing. Mm-hmm. Yes, me with my little nerdy brain, I really dove into this whole pregnancy thing, wanting to know, how do I create the best environment for my baby growing in my belly? And it caused me, she's now a healthy 12 years old, smiling. But it made me want to know more. And as I started studying nutrition and I was looking at prenatal vitamins, I did discover that a lot of the stuff that they sell in like the pharmacies and whatnot, it's not bioavailable. Y'all know what that word means, bioavailable? Meaning you take it and it's actually available to be absorbed into your body. A lot of it you piss away, or a lot of it doesn't get absorbed and you poop it away. I know, sorry, too much information. But I ended up doing a partnership with a very reputable nutritional supplement and vitamin company that produced really high quality vitamins. And that's really when I got this idea that, wow, people don't know how much money you're spending on these supplements that may not even be manufactured to the highest standards, and you're peeing or pooping it out and you're not getting the benefit. And so it's literally been 14 years that I've been sitting on this idea. And now I'm bringing it to the world. Woo! Hey, Sienna, could you hand me a bottle of recovery or whatever I've got down here? So I want to show you guys, because this was something that that one that I have been sitting on. But anyway, so here's what happened. So I do this TV show. I do this TV show, and through the process of them literally following me as I was going through my pregnancy journey, I left an OBGYN practice and switched over to a midwife. I decided to give birth in a birth center doing hypnobirthing, because I had read and heard that, in many other cultures, there is no pushing and screaming and moaning. Like, the body is meant to deliver the baby naturally. You can breathe through it. And, I was already good at meditation. Like, I can go and get ink, no pain, no crying. So I was like, okay. So I allowed them to follow my pregnancy. And little by little, I just became more and more holistic. I went from being like this traditional doc. I had already had, my Chinese medicine influence, but it got even stronger through the pregnancy. And I ended up delivering my child on national television in America. That was the craziest, but that's for another story. All went well. She's here and she's healthy. But what was interesting was I realized, oh, there's my dog making noise. I realized that I had to do this because it just was criminal what these companies are doing. And there's Shimoni. What's up, girl? It's so great to see you. To see your video and to hear your audio of you jumping on the trampoline. Like Shimoni, yes, spending a fortune on supplements. Yeah, we all have done that. And especially now that biohacking is such a thing, all these hackers doing nootropics, and you can get smart drugs, which are, fabulous if you know what you're doing with them. And yes, Sonia, about 80% of supplements are synthetically derived. And yeah, so I came out, I told people, this is the deal. And thanks to one of our dear friends, you've probably seen Trevor Hahn on here a lot, usually. Well, he's on a plane because he's flying in to the south of France from LA, because tomorrow we have our Stories with Soul. But thanks to Trevor and his support, my light is too bright. Let me turn off the light for a second. Look at this baby. What? Innate vitality, recovery. That's right, baby. Shimoni's already got a little tester, and Uplift Me for a natural mood boost. And I am Zen. Yes. So happy about this. Like for real, because it's time that you know what's in your medicine cabinet. It's time that you start to really tune into your body and your brain and become the conscious architect of your life, consciously directing your life force energy. In addition to the supplements, nothing is you're not meant to really be on it for life, but recovery is really meant after travel, sports, or some sort of burnout. If you've gotten to the point where it's not just stress, but you're literally burnt out, like I unfortunately have experienced, when you are completely burnt out and you feel like your motivation is gone, like your body and your brain are just like, you don't want to get moving again, then that means that your brain and your adrenals, your hormone system are out of whack. And so you've got to replenish those building blocks so that you can get your brain chemistry back online and your hormones. So, Sarah hopefully will put a link if she's still around, but we're doing a masterclass series. So Wenda, I will answer your question about what are the best supplements to take when I do this masterclass. It's live, it's free, and you ain't got to buy my stuff. I'll even tell you the other stuff on the market that's good, because I just want people to know the truth. Hallelujah. Yes, Shelley, big hand clapping. And Fleming says he's happy that his supplements are Jesus. All right, now go ahead. Oh, wonderful, Shimoni. I'm so glad that you are sleeping better now that I Am Zen is on board. So these are all natural stuff, the stuff that you want your body to have, and the stuff that talking with so many doctors and experts in Ayurvedic medicine and Chinese medicine over the years, these adaptogens are really so powerful at helping the body rebound or recover from stress. So I'm super excited about it. And yes, Naman, naturally you can naturally heal, and our bodies are meant to heal. Yes. And that is the underlying principle of what I'm teaching and why I'm partnering with other providers and functional medicine providers and coaches and consultants, because your body can heal. Your body can bounce back after trauma or injuries. So if there's something that you feel like, there's something more that you want to give and live in your life, if you're feeling like, you're not living up to your potential, if you don't know what those blocks are, then definitely check out Yvette Taylor's energy alignment method. She's got an online on Facebook. You can find it online or on Facebook. It's the 5 days to flow. You can learn the technique for free and start identifying what are your blocks. Is it something in you or in your energy field or in your mindset that you've been holding on to for years? Without pointing fingers of blame, eventually the buck stops with us. We've got to be accountable to ourselves to really step up and live. So and yes, Shelley, after environmental toxic exposure, absolutely. That was another one of the things that shifted for me. While I was at Discovery Channel, there was a documentary that we did at Discovery Health Channel. It was actually very cool. And we worked with this environmental toxicologist out of Johns Hopkins University in Maryland, Albert Donne. And what Albert proposed, and we covered in this documentary film, was the idea that maybe Edgar Allan Poe had suffered from carbon monoxide poisoning. Dun, dun, dun. Because there are a lot of environmental toxins that create syndromes that if you just went to your average doctor or even your emergency room, they wouldn't pick up on it. They wouldn't know what to test, and they wouldn't be able to tell you, oh, that's a heavy metal. Oh, that's, carbon monoxide. I mean, I know that I didn't until I interviewed Albert for this documentary film. It was amazing. Hello, Yvette. I've just been busy talking about you. You have to watch the replay, darling. And if you could, Yvette, since I just mentioned the 5 days to flow, pop the link in here so that peeps who want to do the 5 days to flow can learn EAM quick, fast, and in a hurry. Pop that in. So back to your question, Shelley. So as I was at Discovery Channel, we had this documentary that covered not just Edgar Allan Poe, but several others. But we wanted to identify, was Edgar Allan Poe possibly carbon monoxide poisoned? Because most people think of carbon monoxide poisoning equals death, which is true. It can kill you. However, if you live, and I know this sounds terrible, most doctors don't know how to treat it. Do you know what the treatment is for CO poisoning? Anyone? I'm going to let you answer. So the crazy thing is that because Edgar Allan Poe, for those of you who don't know, the author of Telltale Heart, right? He, in his writings, Albert Daunet was able to identify something called the Muses syndrome. So Shelley, you've met my friend Karen Joy, who I talked about earlier, who also does a lot of consulting in the functional medicine world. When Albert introduced me to Karen, she had multiple sensory sensitivity syndrome, something called the Muses syndrome. Now, when you're exposed to environmental toxins, it whacks your immune system like crazy. For many people, it so tweaks their immune system that they become sensitive or allergic to almost everything, or they become susceptible to infection and illness. It's crazy because it's not in your general textbooks. It wasn't something that I learned in medical school. So what they discovered with Edgar Allan Poe in his writing, and especially, bravo, Shelley, yes, oxygen. Hyperbaric is ideal if you can find a professional or a doctor who's willing to prescribe that. Hyperbaric O2 works in CO poisoning, but also just plain old oxygen. So via nasal cannula, breathing nasal oxygen, which is what I ended up doing. So I got to get off of here soon. It's 5:55 right now in France. So here's what happened. We were able, through this environmental toxicologist, to obtain hair samples from Edgar Allan Poe because he lived in Maryland. And as I said, Albert Daunet was working with Johns Hopkins because our hair tells the story. It holds whatever we've been eating, like from here, that's like how many years ago. So you can analyze hair strands to see what was in your body at the time that hair was growing. And indeed, they discovered that Edgar Allan Poe had carbon monoxide poisoning, but he didn't die because in addition to his city house in Baltimore, which is where he was poisoned by this carbon monoxide, because these old gas heaters back in the day weren't always adequately ventilated. And so when he was there, he described it in his writing that he would have an acuteness of senses. And even when you read the Telltale Heart about him hearing that beating heart under the floorboard, he actually was. Because when you're CO poisoned and with many of the other environmental toxins, you become so sensitive. So not just your skin like reacting with rashes, but your sense of hearing, your sense of sight, your sense of touch, your sense of smell, your sense of taste. All of those senses are heightened. And the treatment is oxygen. And so when Edgar Allan Poe was at his country house, his writings were different. And he talked about how he suddenly felt so much better. So when I was talking to Albert and he learned more about what I was doing at my wellness center treating obesity, he said, Andrea, many people who are obese or overweight, they trap carbon monoxide in their fat cells. And I was like, I never heard of that. And he's like, yeah, I know, because most doctors don't know it. And he said, but let me tell you this. He said, Andrea, let's do a study. This is me in my nerd hat. And I know, Yvette, you love it too, because she does all these fabulous surveys and studies to prove that what we're doing actually works. So this is what he did. He said, Andrea, I'm going to bring some of the oxygen concentrators. It's like a little fan. It takes in oxygen and concentrates it, and then you breathe it in through a nasal cannula, just like you would if you were on an ambulance or in the emergency room. And he brought these oxygen concentrators to my practice so that we could see if people who normally get to a plateau, like they start losing weight and then they kind of hit a plateau where they can't lose anymore, there's this understanding that if you're trapping carbon monoxide, you don't have the metabolism to let go of fat as efficiently. And, I started doing it while I was doing my acupuncture treatments. People would come in, they'd have 45 minutes of acupuncture, breathing, meditation before they went into their classes with me. So it was like, oh, this is easy. I'll just put some people under these nasal cannula. So I'll have to tell you about that later because it's almost 6 o'clock here. But it created such a difference for people. So the reason I'm saying all of this is to say there's so much understanding that is missing from the general population about functional medicine, about holistic dentistry. My friend Karen Joy that I mentioned, she's an author in Time to Rise. You should read her story. I have said this to her many, many times on camera and on stage. She came to the book signing back in January at the Meditation Museum. I can't believe that she's walking around, smiling, happy, and healthy. Because when I met her with all of the toxins, she had heavy metal exposure from her fillings in her teeth to Lyme disease, the list goes on. I would have never dreamt that the woman I was putting those acupuncture needles and prescribing oxygen to, I would have never believed that she could be up around and walking around healthy and happy. And here she is. So I'm so excited that now finally through this new company, we can create a platform for these credible health discoveries to be investigated, explored, and shared with the world. Because the time is now. The time is now for us all to tune into our innate ability to thrive. That's all I can say. The time is now. So if you are curious to know if you are at risk for burnout, I have got a burnout recovery quiz for you. Yeah, baby. I'm curious to know what's your risk for burnout. For those of my nerdy peeps in the land of, sorry, I'm trying to get you a link and talk at the same time. That's just not working. I really believe that you should know what your risk level is, because most of us as highly sensitive people are at risk for burnout because we tend to do too much. We take on other people's stuff. And I know that's not exactly the way that Yvette would say it. We do take on other people's shizzle. Whether it's because of our empathetic, compassionate nature or a little bit of codependency going on, we can often burn ourselves out based on just craziness. And so I want you to know, are you at risk of burnout? Because if you are, then there's something we can do about that. So if you're curious, take our burnout risk quiz. Voila, there it is. And Shimoni says, send the link for Uplift Me. Totally happy to try. Yes, so Shimoni and a few people that I knew needed these supplements, I sent them out. So Shimoni's already tried Recovery and she's tried I Am Zen. But Uplift Me is the natural mood boost. This one was important for me because of my own history of depression. I knew that I needed something that had everything I needed to balance my brain chemistry and to ease that challenge that some of us go through, whether it's hormonal stuff or processing stuff. This is what helped me with DL-phenylalanine, 5-HTP, mucuna and L-tyrosine. This is good stuff. So anyway, you will get all the links to all of these good and wonderful things very, very soon. So I hope this has been not too heavy, a little Friday for you. Vaughn, I will get you the link. You should just stay tuned, because when we go live with the Burnout Recovery Survival Series in August, each of the master classes, right around that time is when I'm going to share with the world the links to buy everything. Right now, we're still just, testing stuff. I've been on this stuff now since February. I had to test it myself before I put it into anyone else's hands. For those of you that know, my mother has Alzheimer's. I've also given this to her to help with her cognitive function. And my sister, who is always at risk of burnout because she's the sole caretaker right now for my mother. So I've been doing this, for the better part of the year. And that's why I'm so excited that it's finally coming next month. Yes. So anyway, my friends, I hope that this has been helpful to you. I hope that you will, Yvette, can you pop into the link as well? I'm just making Yvette do work. I mean, she's my partner in the world, but I don't have the link readily available. But Yvette's book is coming out in September, and it truly is one that I truly endorse from the heart, not just because I'm the publisher, but because I've seen her work in action. She's worked with me in action. I even brought my daughter to this event, and it was truly, truly just humbling and life-changing. So be sure to grab your copy. You can order it. It's available for pre-order. And if for those of you who haven't done it already, you can join us for the Real Self-Love Movement. Yvette is also one of our Real Self-Love leaders. We at the Real Self-Love Movement, co-founded by my beautiful partner, Helena Philipsen from Denmark. You may have heard that I was in Denmark, and we hosted a 2-day event called Real Self-Love Days, and it was transformational. We had people flying in from, I think, 6 different countries, and the shifts that took place, the transformation and the healing was just so beautiful. And we are going to be doing a Real Self-Love Days in London in October. So stay tuned for the dates in that. And we're doing Real Self-Love Days in Miami. Shelley, book the dates. It's the weekend of November, 17th, 16th, 17th, 18th, that weekend. That's where we will be in Miami. We will be hosting the Real Self-Love Days, and we will be doing book signings with all of these amazing authors, or anybody who can fly in who wants to be there. So we've got the release of the Magic and Miracles book, the Life After Trauma book. By then, Yvette Taylor's book will be out. My book will be going into audio. So you're going to be able to meet some of the authors from Time to Rise and all of these books at these events. Isn't it awesome? So yes. Oh, yes, Fleming, I would love to do Dubai. Why not? Let's take some healing and empowerment to Dubai. Would love it. All right. So the dates again for Miami are the weekend of November 17th. So it's just after my birthday. So come and celebrate my birthday in America. I'm really looking forward to it. It's going to be a fabulous opportunity for us to get together, to hug, to do some energy alignment stuff, to do some activation of light workers, because you know how I do. I like to raise the vibration of the people in this tribe so that you can get out there and do more of the work that you have been called to do. We may have similar titles, we may do similar things in business, but you can't do what I do, and I can't do what you do, and I don't want to try to do you. You do you, and I do me. And let's just all raise our vibration together. Let's get past any sort of limitations or blocks and live to the fullest so that we can really create this new ripple and wave of awakening and elevated consciousness on the planet. We have the power to do that. We have the power to eliminate the suffering on this planet. It starts with each of us taking responsibility and truly becoming accountable to the life force energy that we have been gifted in this lifetime. So I would love to see some of you guys soon. Yvette, you did not yet pop in that link. Pop in the link for the book, please, on Amazon. Yes, Fleming, together we are better. And that is what this whole community is about. It is about lifting each other up. This is about collaboration and contribution. Oh, yes, and I didn't even mention the beautiful Kezia Luckett, who Yvette shared a story in her book as well, Notes to My Younger Self. I got to meet her at EAM. Oh, it was awesome. And we might have some other little announcements coming. So it's just, this is about contribution. This is about collaboration. We are stronger when we are together. When we lift each other up, when we celebrate each other's wins, we don't get diminished in that. I mean, so many people have asked me, wow, how do you have people who are in the same business as you as real self-love leaders? Aren't they going to take your people? And I'm like, there's more than enough. And I don't know if anybody's ever had problems with depression or self-love. You don't need just one person. Sometimes you need multiple books, multiple messengers. So for me, there's no competition, honey. I love all of the people in my tribe, and I want to see you thriving. Part of my mission is to really empower more light workers to claim the abundance and the wealth that they need to make their business thrive. You know, so making more millionaire light workers, that sounds like, I resisted that for a long time because it sounded like an egoic kind of thing to talk about how many of my peeps are like in the 7 and 8 figures. But that's silliness, because I need to play my part in the redistribution of wealth. You know, I would love it if everyone who, you know, these billionaires like Buffett would give away their millions, and Gates and Zuckerberg. But until then, we need to create programs where the people who are heart-centered and soul-inspired, the light workers of the world, rise up and become the millionaires and billionaires, because we're the ones that are going to redistribute that wealth to the people who need it. So that's part of what we're up to at Innate Vitality, is to create a platform that raises the profile and the visibility and the prestige of some of these healthcare providers who are doing cutting-edge stuff. And we need to thrive. We need to have an incubator that provides that opportunity for these new entrepreneurs to thrive. So I'm so honored to have that as part of my life's work and mission. So you're going to see a lot of changes in the way that I work. That's kind of just the way it goes. I'm up leveling too. I've stepped into a whole new expression of my life and my work as well. So anyway, it's now been over an hour, and I always promise I'm going to try to keep it under an hour, and it never works. But I thank you so much for tuning in. I wish you a fabulous weekend. To those of you who are part of the Stories with Soul, I will see you tomorrow. We will start looking at the hero's journey and how you can become an even better storyteller than you already are. It's going to be epic. So my friends, just know that I wish you so, so, so much love. I am showering you with love and chi and positive vibes from the sunny south of France. And remember, you are a gift to the world. You truly are. So share your presence with passion. Much love. Bye, y'all. See you next time.